We've got some Dodgers news and notes out of Camelback Ranch today as Dave Roberts meets with media for the first time this spring. And of the big topics to hit today in the shorter version of the show, Yoshinobu Yamamoto named the likely opening day starter for your Los Angeles Dodgers. Just throw that one up there. He will be starting against the Cubs in Tokyo against Shota Imanaga, so it will be quite a global show. It'll be a great show for MLB, and it'll be great for Japan as well. He also noted, did Dave Roberts, that Roki Sasaki, the other prized off-season acquisition, should be pitching in that series as well. Not really super confirmed that it's as a starter or a reliever at this point. Blake Snell, of course, is an option to get a start there. Tyler Glasnow, an option to get a start there. If they don't, they would be starting the domestic. One of those guys would be starting the domestic opening day at Dodger Stadium against the against the Tigers. But Yamamoto could also pitch in one of those games, as it will be about a week between starts for him. So there's your opening day starter news. Yamamoto gets the nod for the second year in a row, provided he stays healthy this spring. Another Dodgers Japanese pitcher on the road to recovery, Shohei Ohtani. We had an update today. Shohei Ohtani, news and notes. He will throw his first bullpen session this weekend at Camelback Ranch, and everything else will sort of play off of that, which is what Dave told everybody at Dodger Fest, a few days ago, thereabout. The news today, not expected to pitch in a Cactus League game. I am going to hold out hope that he still does pitch in a spring training game, perhaps against the Angels in that Freeway Series, which technically Dave would be right in that it is not a Cactus League game. I don't think it counts as Cactus League stats, but Dave, we're going to play a clip from Dave right now, and Dave did kind of leave the door open a little bit.
He's progressing. He's going through his progression. I don't know when his first bullpen for us is. Like I said before, he's not going to pitch in Tokyo. He's excited to pitch. I don't know when he's going to pitch for us this year. It'll be sooner than later. But that's all contingent on, when he's throwing pens and facing hitters, and there's not going to be a rehab involved, because obviously we need him to be active on our roster to take at bats. And I think the main thing is, once we start, we want to keep going. And that's, I think, important to Shohei, instead of having a respite or a stop in the middle of the season.
Expect Shohei to throw in any Cactus League games? Is that part of the plan at all?
I don't think so. Like most things, that could change, but I think standing here today, I don't expect that.
Thanks, Dave. New voice here on the All Dodgers podcast. But beyond that, there is some more news on the injured reliever front in that injured reliever department, as we learned that Michael Kopech joins Evan Phillips as somebody who is likely to open the season on the injured list, as both are behind schedule to open camp. Couple of things we could talk about with this. We don't need to dive too much into it, but it does vindicate an off-season report from Dodgers. He reports on a number of teams, but from USA Today reporter Bob Nightingale, who had said that Kopech was dealing with an arm injury and had been dealing with an arm injury during the postseason run, and that he was kind of slow to bounce back from that postseason run. So Dodgers GM Brandon Gomes kind of shut down that report. But again, this sort of indicates Bob Nightingale in that report that, yeah, there is something wrong with Michael Kopech. We talked a whole bunch of Evan Phillips yesterday on last night's live stream, and Kopech fits into that same sort of genre of the conversation. It's a tough blow to hear these dudes could and likely will miss a little bit of time, at the bare minimum, a little bit of time to open the season on the injured list. But the Dodgers do have enough arms in the stable to get the job done with the additions of Tanner Scott and Kirby Yates. Kirby Yates, again, I'm going to say it in the clip coming up, but Kirby Yates, that signing makes a whole hell of a lot more sense now, learning about these two injuries. But there are still guys like Ben Casparius, Edgardo Henriquez on the roster. Landon Knack could see more time. And of course, Dustin May could slot into a relief role if the Dodgers choose to go that route, which is definitely the better route for Dustin May's career, for his future, and how he could help this team, definitely in 2025. But anyways, I'm going to throw to that clip of our conversation here. But first, I do want to talk about Underdog Fantasy. It is the easiest place to play all your fantasy sports, and it's now proudly helping support us here at the All Dodgers podcast. But if you want to make some picks on your favorite sports, Underdog Fantasy offers a unique approach to fantasy sports with a simple pick'em style format. It's pretty easy to figure out. I'm not a gambling dude. I'm not a betting dude, but it made it a lot easier for me. And I'll say I'm looking forward to playing. I've said it a few times. We're right here on the doorstep of the baseball season. So if people want to join in and get some underdog going along with me, I'll tell you how to do that. But first, I'll tell you it's super simple to do this. You pick higher or lower on between 2 and 8 players, and you can win up to 325 times your entry. That says 100x with our promo code All Dodgers, there it is. It's actually 325x. So I am gearing up to make my MLB 2025 regular season picks. This is Aaron Judge homers. This is how many bombs and ribbies is Shohei gonna have, stolen bases. So I might do that like with the Discord family.
We could do that. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. So that's something we're gonna possibly get in the works, but I'll tell you, sign up at underdogfantasy.com today, or download the app, or click the link in the description of this video. That's the easiest way of doing it, and use that promo code AllDodgers. If you click the link, it's automatically in there, and you get your free pick and up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Thank you for hearing me out, and thank you for helping supporting the brands that help support us, all that kind of stuff. But anyways, let's get back into it. The shocking news, we'll say, out of Camelback Ranch, out of spring training today, Evan Phillips' injury wasn't on my bingo card, even though you're not super shocked because he did miss the World Series, but does have a tear in the back of his right rotator cuff. That's what kept him out of the World Series. Got PRP in November and is rehabbing, very strongly likely not going to be ready for opening day, which is not that big of a problem because a couple weeks ago we thought that was going to be Michael Kopech. Instead, it's Evan Phillips. But my God, does this make the Tanner Scott signing that much more important? And it also makes the Kirby Yates deal make a lot more sense. The guy you famously forgot about last week.
Forgot about it entirely.
It happens. But how do you feel about this situation?
It sucks. It's not, like you said, it's not surprising when you get a guy like Evan Phillips who misses. So, in context, Daniel Hudson pitched in the World Series, but famously has come out and said that if he had to pitch Game 5, his arm would have fallen off. The fact that Evan Phillips missed the World Series tells you how significant that injury was, because he couldn't even go at all.
Yeah.
So this is it. So it's not surprising at this moment. We knew there was something a little more serious going on. If it was something even minor to medium, we figured he'd be available. But the fact that he wasn't available at all, we figured there was a little bit more behind the scenes than we were led on to believe. It makes the Kirby Yates signing way more obvious. It makes it make much more sense. It makes a greater need for Tanner Scott, especially considering the innings that Blake Trinan threw in October. So, and with the pain he felt earlier in that season, we just have to kind of hope that he'll be ready at some point in the season. But I've got to be honest with how this organization deals with injuries, with how they baby their pitchers specifically. Yeah. I can't imagine he's back any earlier than the All-Star break. And that's fine. That's okay. It's just with shoulder injuries, they're not going to want to throw him out there for no reason, especially with this iteration of the bullpen where not a lot of guys have options. So they can't just bring Evan Phillips back up for no reason and just option somebody down. No, there's I think what is it? I think Vesia is the only guy left
The
with an
only
option
reliever,
year.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Which
like
definitely that hamstrings this team greatly.
Yes. Yes.
At least from the way they're used to operating.
Yes. So if they bring back Phillips, I think he's going to have to be fully healthy.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, we're at a point. There's enough talent, and I put Nando 390's comment up there because I agree. I think this really does open a massive door for Dustin May, and this was somebody we were talking about last week. Where if you're looking at some dudes that are kind of on the outside looking in on a potential roster spot, Dustin May is one of those guys where there's no clear-cut role for him in the starting rotation. Yeah, he'll probably be in there for, the first couple of weeks of the season, but if he's going to stick around, he's most likely got to assume some sort of bullpen role, and that if he wants to be a Dodgers, a pitcher on this Dodgers team, that's going to be his best doorway to doing it, his best path to doing it. Otherwise, or either way, I should say, like you said, and I love what you said, he's also pitching for 29 other teams this year every time he gets on the bump for the Dodgers, whether it's in spring training or during the regular season. But Phillips, definitely a big blow, but to have it now, I mean, thank God they survived the World Series without him because they did have enough pitching. They have more now, but I am okay with them letting him let it just calm down. They got the PRP done in November, so it's been at least 3 months, more resting, more healing. Now he's going to be working full time with the Dodgers strength and conditioning coaches there at Camelback. So it's a shock. It's something to watch early in camp, whatever they end up doing with him. But I think what we saw last year, like this team could kind of survive without him. Especially with the addition of Tanner Scott and Kirby Yates.
Yeah, exactly. This year more than any. And like you said, with Dustin May potentially being a swing man, they have backups for an Evan Phillips. It's just, it sucks that a guy that's been so pivotal to this organization for the last 3 years is going to miss, or 4 years, is going to miss at least
significant time.
I'm projecting significant time. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, if it is All-Star break, that's tough. That's absolutely tough. And then, but at the All-Star break, Andrew Friedman, they said, this team has said they don't want to go and be buyers at the trade deadline. Yep. Well, if you're getting Evan Phillips back and you're getting Clayton Kershaw back probably by that time and Emmett Sheehan by that time, you kind of don't need to go out and be buyers. You have some options in-house. And if you want to be sellers, Evan Phillips is coming back, Kershaw's coming back, Dustin May, if you're doing okay and other teams need you and we don't, a la Ross Stripling 2020, maybe there's some sort of offload or whatever. So Dodgers, once again, very, very good spot. They can weather the storm of losing Evan Phillips for a little bit. And for me, right now, it adds a little bit of clarity to the opening day roster, picture, at least on the pitching side.